The Democratic Republic of Congo is one of the largest countries in Africa, both geographically and in terms of population. Geographically, the country is the second largest in Africa with a land area of 905,400 square miles. The total population is 83,301,151 people. Out of the 189 countries included in the Human Development Index, the DRC is ranked at 176 with an HDI of 0.457. 90.5% of their working population lives in poverty, which is defined as under $3.10 per day. In general, the country faces many developmental problems including corruption and political instability, gender inequality, health issues, and widespread poverty. These issues negatively affect the country's environment, which further traps the country in a state of underdevelopment. The country has immense natural resources, which include the second largest reserve of fresh water on Earth, 5% of the world's forests, and over 1,000 different types of species of birds. However, the violence between ethnic groups has leaked into protected areas, causing mass deforestation. Forests in the DRC are decreasing at a rate of 5%. Deforestation caused by the corruption in the country has also caused a great loss of biodiversity, which the DRC is now actively trying to combat. Our organization will be implementing efforts to improve life for the residents of the DRC by supplying clean water to areas in need, stimulating the economy by providing subsidies to farmers to contribute to forests, and assist in preserving biodiversity and reducing conflict by preventing poaching.
The Justice Alliance for Natural Conservation Services is working to preserve the natural wildlife, forest, and clean water sources of the DRC for the betterment of the citizens and global community. We envision a Democratic Republic of Congo where the forest, biodiversity, and clean water are protected and preserved to be utilized by the people of the country. We hope to increase access to clean and safe drinking water, curb poaching practices, and deforestation in the DRC.
GEOG's first development priority in the DRC is to curb the rampant poaching in the country. Our organization plans to set up a microloan system, much like the successful Grameen Bank in Bangladesh. We will give small loans to non-related groups of locals in order for them to create their own small businesses. This will ensure a source of income for the people of the DRC outside of poaching. To even further enforce our goal, in order to obtain the loans, groups will have to make a pledge to not directly or indirectly be involved in poaching activities. One possible issue with our plan is that it won't target the population of poachers directly, and poaching will continue. In order to combat this, during our second year in the DRC, we will set up a volunteer ranger program. Citizens who wish to can sign up and will get paid a salary by us to monitor forests and vulnerable habitat and protect it from poachers. In order to measure the success of this project, GEOG will send researchers to measure both the poaching rates and population size of local vulnerable animals. If we are able to lower the poaching rate by half and see a consistent population size in the local megafauna, we can call this mission a success. This will primarily be implemented in our first 2 years of work in the DRC. Our first year we will focus on researching current poaching rates, while the second year we will set up the microloan bank itself and the volunteer ranger program. The following 3 years will be spent giving out loans and recruiting for the ranger program.
Another development priority for GEOG is to prevent deforestation. Currently, the Congo River Basin, which is the second largest rainforest in the world after the Amazon, is under threat of deforestation. This is the result of ethnic conflict, as well as subsistence farming. Within the next 10 years, models show that the Congo River Basin rainforest will lose 2.435 million hectares, or 4% of intact primary forests in the DRC. This statistic comes from the Greenpeace organization. Deforestation is especially bad in the Congo River Basin because it puts endangered species in danger. Some of these being chimpanzees, cross-river gorillas, and African elephants. Another issue that is posed by deforestation is increased climate change due to higher levels of carbon dioxide. In order to stop the negative practice of deforestation, GEOG will offer subsidies to farmers if they plant trees. Hopefully these subsidies can provide aid to an impoverished region. The amount given to farmers has yet to be determined. However, the subsidies will be given on a per unit of tree planted basis. The way that these subsidies will be determined as successful is how many trees get planted versus the rate at which deforestation in the Congo River Basin occurs. The subsidies will start to occur in the second year of the timeline. One possible issue that will result from these subsidies is it could result in conflict with the region's ethnic groups. The solution to this lies in the monetary incentives that these subsidies provide. Ultimately, the increase in money in this impoverished region will do nothing but good things, as the inhabitants will have increased access to educational resources. To prove validity, GEOG will be working with Greenpeace in order to educate farmers in the area on the issues posed by deforestation.
Our organization has identified the water crisis that is occurring globally as a main area of focus within the DRC. There's a huge irony in this problem, as according to the UN, the DRC is the most water-rich country in Africa. It accounts for approximately 52% of Africa's surface water reserves and 23% of Africa's internal renewable water resources. However, a majority of DRC citizens do not have access to fresh, clean drinking water, particularly in rural areas where only 40% of the population has access to an improved water resource compared to 96% of urban populations. The DRC has been very open to working with outside help. According to the World Bank, international assistance plays an important role in the development of the DRC's water sector. International aid is estimated at $62 million per year, which corresponds to approximately 95% of total investments in the water sector. In working with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, the UN has identified recommendations for water quality circling three main objectives: support of the water sector governance reform, technical and institutional capacity building, and establishing a scientific information base, with key interventions including implementation of autonomous community-based management of micro-scale water infrastructure. This will be the area we invest our money in to have the biggest impact. We plan on implementing 25 wells at a cost of $8,000 per well, based on the average cost to perform a similar project in Malawi by the Water Wells for Africa. We will implement these wells over 3 years in rural areas where there are a lot of people without water. Our main obstacle will be government permission to work and build on their land, but because they are already open to outside help and we are partnered with trustworthy organizations such as Greenpeace and UNAID, we don't see this as being a problem.
With this money, we look forward to positively impacting the future of the DRC.